My son humiliated me, leaving me silent. The next morning, I cooked a massive feast. He smirked, saying, "You finally learned your place, old man." But his smile vanished instantly when he saw exactly who was sitting at the table waiting for him. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up to the day before, when everything changed, when I stopped being the harmless old fool everyone thought I was and became something else entirely. It was a Saturday afternoon in September, one of those gray, humid days where the sky looks like dirty cotton and the air sits on your chest like a wet blanket. Our town, Millfield, population $8,000, doesn't have much going for it except a handful of family-owned businesses, 3 churches, and enough gossip to fuel a dozen reality shows. The kind of place where everyone knows your business before you do, where reputations are built over decades and destroyed over dinner. I was standing in my driveway, grease under my fingernails, working on a 1967 Mustang that belonged to old Harvey Peterson. Beautiful car, cherry red with a white racing stripe. The engine had been knocking, and I'd finally tracked it down to a worn lifter. Simple fix if you know what you're doing. I've been restoring classic cars for 30 years. Used to run a full garage before I semi-retired. Now I just work on select projects, the ones that interest me. My wife Linda was inside the house making lemonade. We'd been married 33 years. She's the smart one in the relationship, always has been. Taught high school English before she retired. She's got this way of watching people, really watching them, seeing things they don't want seen. She'd been warning me about our son for years. I should have listened sooner. The neighborhood gathering was supposed to be casual, just the folks on our street getting together for an early dinner. The Hendersons from next door had set up tables in their front yard. There were maybe 15 people milling around, drinking beer, eating potato salad, pretending to care about each other's lives. My son, Derek, had insisted Linda and I attend. He and his wife, Vanessa, had moved in with us 6 months earlier. Temporarily, they said, just until they got back on their feet after Derek's business venture fell through. That's what he called it. A business venture. I called it what it was. He'd tried to flip houses without knowing the first thing about construction, lost his shirt, and came crawling back home. He was 32 years old. I didn't mind helping. That's what fathers do. But Derek and Vanessa had a way of making help feel like hostage-taking. They took over the master bedroom. They rearranged the kitchen. They invited people over without asking. They treated our home like it was theirs, and we were the guests. Linda saw it clearly from day one. I made excuses. He's our son. He's going through a rough patch. He'll bounce back. I've been insulted by better men and worse mechanics, but nothing prepared me for what happened at that neighborhood gathering. We were standing near the food table. Derek was holding court, as usual. He's a big guy, 6'2", probably 210 pounds, most of it muscle. He's obsessed with fitness, spends 2 hours a day at the gym, posts workout videos online. Vanessa is the same way. She's an influencer, which apparently means she takes pictures of herself and convinces companies to give her free stuff. She's got maybe 50,000 followers. She treats it like she's running a media empire. Tom Henderson, our neighbor, was asking me about the Mustang. "How's the restoration coming, Jack?" Tom's a good guy. Retired postal worker, decent poker player. "Almost done," I said. "Just some detail work left. Engine purrs like new." Derek cut in before I could say more. "Dad's been working on that thing for 6 months. At his age, everything takes twice as long." A few people laughed. Polite, uncomfortable laughs. I smiled. "Careful work takes time." "Time and patience," Tom agreed. Derek wasn't done. He turned to face the group, his voice carrying across the yard. "You know what's funny? My dad used to run a whole garage, had 3 mechanics working under him. Now he can barely finish 1 car. It's like watching someone try to remember how to ride a bike." The laughter died. People looked at their plates. Vanessa giggled, her phone in her hand, probably recording for her precious followers. Linda's jaw tightened. I felt her hand on my arm, squeezing once. A warning. Don't engage. "Derek," I said quietly, maybe we should what? Pretend you're still the man you used to be?" He was smiling, but there was something cold behind it. "Come on, Dad. Everyone here knows you're slowing down. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Getting old happens to everybody. I'm 57. I can still bench press 200 pounds. I can work under a car for 6 hours straight. I'm not ancient, but that wasn't the point. The point was the audience. The public humiliation. The way he positioned himself as the strong, capable son taking care of his declining father. "Derek, that's enough," Linda said. Her voice was ice. "Mom, I'm just being honest. Honesty is healthy, right? better than pretending everything's fine when it's not. He looked around at the neighbors. My parents are getting older. They need help managing things. The house, the finances, all of it. That's why Vanessa and I moved in. Someone has to make sure they're taken care of. Sharon Baker, the biggest gossip on the block, leaned forward with fake sympathy. That's so good of you, Derek. Looking after your parents like that. I felt something crack inside me. Not anger, exactly. Anger is hot and messy. This was colder, clearer. I looked at my son, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. Saw the calculation behind his eyes, saw how carefully he'd staged this moment. This wasn't about concern. This was about control, about positioning, about making sure everyone in town saw him as the responsible adult, and me as the burden. I didn't say anything, didn't defend myself, didn't argue. I just smiled, nodded, and went back to eating my hamburger. Derek looked disappointed. He'd wanted a reaction, wanted me to get angry, to make a scene, to prove his point about my declining faculties. But I've worked with engines my whole life. I know how systems work, how pressure builds, how everything has a breaking point. I just let him think he'd won. We left the gathering 20 minutes later. Linda and I walked home in silence. When we got inside, I went straight to my workshop in the garage. Linda followed. Jack, she said, I know. This has to stop. I know. He's going to try to take the house, the business, everything. I looked at her. How long have you known? About 3 months. I found paperwork in their room. Documents about elder care, conservatorships, power of attorney. He's been researching. My hands were steady. That surprised me. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me before today? She was right. I wouldn't have. I would have made excuses, defended him. But standing in that front yard, being mocked in front of my neighbors, something had shifted. I'd seen him clearly for the first time in years. What do we do? I asked. Linda smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. We remind him who he's dealing with. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in the guest bedroom, our own guest bedroom, because Derek and Vanessa had the master, and listened to the house. Heard them moving around upstairs, heard their muffled voices. Around 2 a.m, I got up and went to the kitchen for water. Their voices were clearer from there. They were in the living room, just around the corner. I stood in the dark hallway and listened. Your dad looked pathetic today, Vanessa said. Sharon practically had tears in her eyes. Derek laughed. The old man's lost his edge. Did you see how he just stood there? Didn't even fight back? Do you think he suspects? Suspects what? That we're going to convince him to sign over the house? No way. He's clueless. He still thinks we're here temporarily. And your mom? Mom's smart, but she loves him too much to see it coming. Besides, once we have the house in our name, what's she going to do? Divorce him? She's not going anywhere. Vanessa giggled. I can't wait to renovate this place. Get rid of all this old people furniture. Make it actually livable. Give it another month, maybe 6 weeks. I'm working on Dad slowly, building the narrative that he can't handle things anymore. Once the neighbors are convinced, once we have enough documentation of his decline, we move. What about the car restoration business? What business? He does maybe 3 cars a year. We'll absorb it. I'll find someone to actually do the work, slap my name on it, turn it into something profitable. They kept talking, but I'd heard enough. I went back to the guest room. Linda was awake, sitting up in bed. You heard? She asked. Every word. What are you thinking? I sat down on the edge of the bed. Outside, the gray morning was starting to break through the windows, humid, heavy, the kind of day where storms build slow and hit hard. I'm thinking, I said slowly, that our son has forgotten something important. What's that? I'm not harmless, I'm not weak, I'm not declining, I'm just quiet. I looked at her. There's a difference between being unable to fight back and choosing not to. Linda nodded. So we fight back. We fight back. Do you have a plan? I thought about the phone calls I could make, the people I knew, the information I had access to, the secrets I'd kept. I'm working on one, I said. And that's when I decided to cook the feast. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. The idea came to me fully formed around 4 a.m, the way the best ideas do. I was lying in the dark, listening to Derek snore through the ceiling, and suddenly I saw the whole thing play out like a movie in my head. A feast, a massive breakfast, the kind that looks like reconciliation, like acceptance, like an old man finally learning his place in the natural order, and a guest, one specific guest who would turn Derek's world inside out. I got up and started making calls. The first was to Linda's cell phone, even though she was sleeping 2 feet away from me. She stirred, confused, then saw me holding my phone and understood. She grabbed hers. My text was simple. Trust me. Play along with whatever I do today. Don't ask questions yet. She typed back, always. The second call was to Martin Pike. Martin and I went back 30 years. We'd served in the National Guard together, worked on cars together, drank too much beer together. He was a criminal defense attorney now, semi-retired like me, but still sharp as a razor. More importantly, Martin knew things about people. He kept his ear to the ground. When you're a lawyer in a small town for 3 decades, you collect secrets like other people collect stamps. He answered on the third ring, his voice gravelly with sleep. Jack, it's 4:30 in the morning. I need information, I said, about Derek. Silence. Then, what kind of information? Everything. Business dealings, partners, failures, anything that might come back to bite him. Another pause. Jack, if you're planning something, I'm planning to protect myself and my wife from our son trying to steal our house. Jesus, you're sure? I heard him say it, last night. Martin was quiet for a long moment. Then, there's someone you need to talk to. Guy named James Reeves. He and Derek tried to start a house flipping business together about 2 years ago, before the venture you know about. This was the first one, the one Derek never told you about. What happened? Derek screwed him, took money from investors, used it for personal expenses, then blamed James when everything fell apart. James lost his savings, nearly lost his marriage. He's been wanting to confront Derek for years, but Derek kept dodging him. My pulse quickened. Would James be willing to talk to me? More than willing. He tried to contact you last year, actually, left messages. Derek must have intercepted them. Of course he did. Can you set up a meeting? Today? Today? Jack, what are you planning? A breakfast, I said. A big one. I spent the next 3 hours making more calls, sending careful emails, setting pieces in motion. Linda got up around 6 and found me in the kitchen, already pulling ingredients from the refrigerator. Jack? She watched me pull out eggs, bacon, sausage, pancake mix, bread, butter, jam, cheese, hash browns. We're having a feast, I said. When? Tomorrow morning. I'm inviting Derek and Vanessa to join us for a special family breakfast, a peace offering. Linda's eyes narrowed, then widened with understanding. Who else is coming? A ghost from Derek's past? Does this ghost have a name? James Reeves. She nodded slowly. The first partner. Martin told you. Martin told me a lot of things over the years. I've been keeping notes. She pulled a small notebook from her purse. I have documentation of every lie Derek has told us, every manipulation, every time he moved money around that he shouldn't have. You've been planning this. Someone had to. You were too busy seeing the best in him. She wasn't wrong. I'd spent 2 years making excuses while Linda quietly built a case. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be sorry. Be smart. She opened the notebook. James Reeves isn't the only person Derek screwed over. There's also his former business partner from the house flipping venture you know about, a guy named Thomas Brighton. There's his ex-girlfriend from college who he left with debt after borrowing her credit cards. There's the contractor he stiffed on the one house he actually managed to renovate. The list goes on. I stared at the notebook. How did you get all this? I asked questions. I made phone calls. I pretended to be a concerned mother trying to understand why my son's life kept falling apart. She smiled coldly. People are very willing to talk when they think you're on their side. Linda, you're not the only one who knows how to plan, Jack. You just had to see him clearly first. Now you do, so let's finish this. We spent the morning coordinating. Martin agreed to bring James Reeves to our house at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. I called Derek's phone and left a cheerful message. Hey, son, listen, I've been thinking about what you said yesterday. You're right, I have been slowing down, and I appreciate you and Vanessa stepping up. Why don't we do a family breakfast tomorrow morning? Big spread, all your favorites. Call it a fresh start. He called back within 20 minutes. Dad? Really? Really. I think it's time I stopped being stubborn and started appreciating what you're doing for us. I could hear the smile in his voice. That means a lot, Dad. Seriously. What time? 8 o'clock. Bring your appetite. We'll be there. And Dad? I'm glad you're finally seeing things clearly. Me too, son. Me too. I hung up and looked at Linda. He bought it. Of course he did. He thinks he's won. That's when people get sloppy. The rest of Saturday was strange. Derek and Vanessa were extra friendly, extra helpful. Vanessa even offered to cook dinner. Derek asked if I needed help with anything around the house. They were playing their roles, solidifying the narrative of the capable young couple taking care of the declining old folks. I played mine too, a little more confused, a little more tired, a little more grateful. Derek ate it up. That evening, around 7, I went to meet James Reeves at a diner 2 towns over. Martin had set it up. James was 41, lean and worn-looking, with the kind of exhaustion that comes from years of fighting uphill battles. We sat in a corner booth, away from other customers. "Mr. Dalton," James said, "I've wanted to talk to you for a long time." "Call me Jack, and I'm sorry I didn't return your calls. I didn't know about them." "Derek intercepted them?" "Most likely." James nodded bitterly. "That sounds like him. He's good at controlling information." "Tell me what happened. Start from the beginning." James sighed and started talking. The story poured out of him like he'd been holding it in for years. How he and Derek had met at a real estate seminar. How Derek had pitched this brilliant plan to flip foreclosed houses. How they'd brought in investors, friends, family members, people who trusted them. How Derek had immediately started spending money on things that had nothing to do with the business. A new truck, gym equipment, trips. When James confronted him, Derek had blamed him for mismanaging funds, had forged documents showing James was the one making unauthorized withdrawals, had convinced the investors that James was the problem. "I lost everything," James said quietly. "My savings, my reputation, my marriage barely survived. And Derek just moved on to the next thing like I never existed." "Why didn't you sue?" "I tried. He'd covered his tracks too well. The forged documents looked real. He had witnesses willing to lie for him. My lawyer said it would cost more to fight than I'd ever recover, so I gave up." He looked at me. "But I never forgot. And when Martin called me yesterday and said you wanted to talk, I dropped everything." "What do you want out of this?" I asked. James met my eyes. "I want him to know I didn't forget. I want him to squirm. I want him to feel even a fraction of what he put me through." "What if I told you I'm planning something for tomorrow morning? Something that would publicly expose him?" "I'd ask what I can do to help," I smiled. "Just show up, 8 a.m., and be ready to tell your story." We talked for another hour. I got details, names, dates, ammunition. By the time I drove home, I had everything I needed. Linda was waiting up. "How'd it go?" "James is on board. He'll be there tomorrow." "And Derek?" "Derek thinks he's attending a surrender ceremony. He has no idea it's his execution." That night, I slept like a baby. Sunday morning broke gray and humid again, the same suffocating weather we'd had all week. I was up at 5:30, starting breakfast, bacon in the oven, sausage on the griddle, pancakes on the stove. I made scrambled eggs and omelets and hash browns and French toast. I squeezed fresh orange juice and brewed a full pot of coffee. I set the dining room table with our good dishes, the ones we used for holidays. It looked like a feast. It looked like celebration. It looked like surrender. Linda came down at 7, already dressed, already composed. "Is he here yet?" "James?" "Martin's bringing him at 7:45. It gives us time to prep." "And Derek?" "He'll be right on time. He wouldn't miss this." At 7:43, Martin's car pulled into the driveway. I met them at the door. James looked nervous. Martin looked grimly satisfied. "Gentlemen," I said. "Welcome." I brought them into the dining room. James stared at the spread of food. "This is symbolic," I said. "Have a seat." At exactly 8 o'clock, I heard movement upstairs. Derek and Vanessa coming down. I could hear them talking, laughing. "Smells amazing," Vanessa said. "Dad went all out," Derek replied. "Told you he'd come around." I stood at the head of the table, Linda beside me. Martin and James sat along one side, facing the doorway. Derek walked in first, Vanessa right behind him. He was smiling, his confident, self-satisfied smile. "Dad, this looks incredible. You really didn't have to." Then he saw James. His smile died like someone had flipped a switch. His face went white. He stopped so abruptly that Vanessa bumped into him. "What?" His voice cracked. "What is he doing here?" I gestured to the empty chairs. "Sit down, Derek. We're going to have a conversation." "I'm not sitting anywhere with him." Derek pointed at James. "Get him out of my house." "This is our house, Derek, not yours, not yet." Vanessa grabbed Derek's arm. "What's going on? Who is that?" James stood up slowly. "I'm James Reeves. Derek and I used to be business partners, before he destroyed my life." Derek's face went from white to red. "That's bullshit. You destroyed your own life by stealing from our investors." I have proof you forged those documents, James said calmly. I've had it for 2 years. I just couldn't afford to use it until now. Proof? Derek laughed, but it sounded hollow. You're bluffing. James pulled a folder from his jacket and laid it on the table. Bank statements showing cash withdrawals you made from the business account, matching exactly the amounts you reported as my unauthorized spending. Dated time-stamped security footage from the bank showing you making those withdrawals. Affidavits from 3 people willing to testify that you told them you were going to pin the missing money on me before anything went wrong. All of it time-stamped, documented, and certified. The room went silent. Derek stared at the folder like it was a snake. How? I hired a private investigator, James said. Cost me everything I had left, but I got it all. Every piece. I watched my son's face cycle through emotions. Confusion, anger, fear, calculation. What do you want? Derek finally asked, his voice tight. I want, James said slowly, everyone in this room to know exactly who you are. It was a Thursday evening, 3 weeks after Derek left, when my shop alarm went off. 2:30 in the morning. The security company called my cell phone while the alarm was still screaming. Mr. Dalton, this is Secure Watch. We have an alert at your property. Motion detected inside the building. Police have been dispatched. I was already pulling on clothes, Linda awake beside me. Someone broke in? She asked. Looks like it. We got to the shop 15 minutes later. 2 police cars were already there, lights flashing. Officers had their flashlights out, checking the perimeter. I recognized one of them, Officer Rodriguez, who I'd restored a motorcycle for last year. Jack, he said, back door was forced. Looks like someone used a crowbar on the lock. You keep valuables inside? Tools, parts, 3 cars in various states of restoration. We went inside together. At first glance, nothing looked disturbed. Then I saw it. The Corvette. The beautiful '64 Corvette I'd been working on for Richard Foster. Someone had taken a baseball bat to the driver's side door. 3 deep dents, paint chipped, metal crumpled. Jesus, Officer Rodriguez breathed. I walked around the car slowly. Just the one door. Nothing else touched. Not the other cars, not my tools, not the parts inventory. This wasn't robbery. This was a message. Any idea who'd do this? Rodriguez asked. I thought about Derek, about his anger, about how I'd systematically dismantled his attempts to take over my business. Maybe, I said. Your son? Word really did travel fast in small towns. I don't have proof. But you suspect. I nodded. Rodriguez wrote everything down. They took photos, dusted for prints. By 4 a.m., they were done, and I was left standing in my shop, staring at thousands of dollars in damage. I called Richard Foster at 7 a.m. before he left for his office. Richard, I have bad news. I explained about the break-in, about the damage to his car. He was quiet for a long moment. Can it be fixed? Yes, but it'll add time and cost to the project. Will insurance cover it? Most of it, but there'll be a deductible, and it'll set us back 3 or 4 weeks. Another pause. Jack, was this your son? I think so. I can't prove it. Can I be honest with you? When Derek called me trying to take over the project, I did more than just check his references. I'm a lawyer. I have resources. I found out about the James Reeves situation, about the fraud, about the conservatorship documents. And you still kept the project with me? I kept it with you because your reputation is solid and his is garbage. But Jack, you need to deal with this. Whatever family drama is happening, it's escalating, and I need to know my property is safe. It will be. I'm upgrading security today. Cameras, better locks, motion sensors, whatever it takes. Good, because I want this project finished. Just protect my car. After Richard hung up, I called Martin. Derek vandalized my shop last night. Can you prove it? Not yet. No prints, no witnesses. But it was targeted. Just Richard Foster's Corvette. Nothing else. Richard's the one Derek tried hardest to steal as a client. That's motive, but not proof. What do you want to do? I want him to know I know it was him, and I want him to understand there will be consequences if it happens again. That's dangerous territory, Jack. If you can't prove it was him, confronting him could backfire. I'm not going to confront him directly. I'm going to make sure he hears about the upgraded security, about the cameras, about how the next time someone breaks in, we'll have crystal clear footage of their face. Ah, deterrence. Exactly. I spent Thursday installing new security, cameras covering every angle of the shop, inside and out, motion sensors on all doors and windows, a system that would alert my phone directly, not just the security company. Cost me $3,000, but it was worth it. I made sure to post about it on my business Facebook page. Upgrading security after recent break-in. New cameras provide 4K coverage of entire property, full night vision capability, police-level evidence quality, protecting our clients' valuable vehicles. Subtle, but Derek would see it, and he'd know what it meant. Friday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. "You think cameras will stop me?" I showed Linda. "It's him. He's escalating, getting sloppy." "Good. Angry people make mistakes." I forwarded the text to Martin and to Officer Rodriguez. They both told me to save it, document everything, but there wasn't enough yet for legal action. Saturday afternoon, Derek showed up at my house. Linda and I were in the front yard. She was planting flowers. I was trimming hedges. Peaceful Saturday afternoon. Then Derek's truck pulled into the driveway. He got out fast, stormed across the lawn. "You're destroying my life," he said. I put down the hedge trimmer, stayed calm. "How am I doing that?" "That's cease and desist. Telling people not to work with me, spreading lies about me." "I haven't spread any lies. I've told the truth. There's a difference. You turned everyone against me. My own father." Neighbors were watching now. 2 houses down, I saw curtains moving. Across the street, Tom Henderson was suddenly very interested in washing his car. Perfect audience. "Derek," I said calmly, "you turned people against yourself. By lying to them. By trying to manipulate them. By forging documents and destroying someone else's life. I just made sure the truth came out." "I was trying to protect you." "From what? From living my own life? From maintaining my own business? From making my own decisions?" His face was red now, veins standing out on his neck. "You're a stubborn old man who can't admit when he needs help. And you're a con artist who can't admit when you've lost." Wrong thing to say. I knew it the moment the words left my mouth. Derek lunged at me. He was fast. 32 years old, gym-trained, angry. His fist came at my face. But I'd spent 40 years working with my hands. Reflexes built from thousands of hours under car hoods, around sharp metal, near moving parts. I'd been dodging hazards since before Derek was born. I sidestepped. His punch whistled past my ear. His momentum carried him forward. I grabbed his arm, used his own force against him, and guided him face first into the hedge I'd been trimming. He yelped, branches scraping his face. "Don't," I said quietly. "Don't ever take a swing at me again." He spun around, face scratched and furious. Tried to tackle me. I was ready this time. Planted my feet, caught him mid-charge, and used his weight to trip him. He went down hard on the lawn. By now, Tom Henderson was jogging over. Hey, break it up." Derek scrambled to his feet. His shirt was grass-stained. His face was scratched. He looked at me with pure hatred. "You're going to pay for this." "Are you threatening me in front of witnesses?" I gestured to Tom, to the other neighbors, now openly watching. Derek realized his mistake, looked around at the audience. Everyone staring at him, the aggressive 32-year-old who'd just attacked his 57-year-old father. "This isn't over," he said. Then he got in his truck and left. Tom stood beside me, breathing hard. "Jack, you okay?" "Fine. He barely touched me." He really came at you." "He did." "You should press charges." "Maybe. Let me talk to my lawyer first." Linda came over, calm as ice. "You handled that well." "Did I? I probably shouldn't have provoked him." "He was already provoked. You just defended yourself." She looked at the watching neighbors. And everyone saw that. She was right. By Monday morning, the whole town would know that Derek had attacked his father, that I'd defended myself without throwing a single punch, that Derek was out of control. The narrative was completing its transformation. Derek went from concerned son to unstable adult trying to steal from his parents. But I knew this was dangerous territory. Derek wasn't thinking clearly anymore. He was desperate, cornered, losing everything. And desperate people do desperate things. I called Officer Rodriguez and filed a report. Gave him witness names. Tom Henderson, the couple across the street, Sharon Baker, who'd been walking her dog and saw the whole thing. "Mr. Dalton," Rodriguez said, "I'm going to be straight with you. This pattern suggests escalation. First the rumors and phone calls, then vandalism. Now physical assault. Next could be worse. What do you suggest?" "Restraining order. Get it filed Monday morning. If he comes near you or your property again, we can arrest him immediately." "Will that help?" "It'll create a legal boundary. Whether it stops him depends on how far gone he is." Not the answer I wanted, but the honest one. Monday morning, Martin filed for a restraining order. The hearing was set for Friday. In the meantime, Derek had to maintain distance. He didn't. Tuesday night, around midnight, he showed up at my shop again, This time the cameras caught everything. He parked a block away and walked in. Wore a hoodie, kept his face down, but I recognized his walk, his build. He circled the building twice, testing locks, looking for weak points. The new security held, every door, every window, no way in without triggering the alarm. After 10 minutes, he left. I had it all on 4K video, saved to the cloud. Sent copies to Martin, to Officer Rodriguez, to the security company. Wednesday morning, Rodriguez called. We have him. Clear footage. We can arrest him now for attempted breaking and entering, plus violation of the pending restraining order. Do it, I said. They picked Derek up Wednesday afternoon. Brought him in for questioning. He denied everything at first, until they showed him the video. Then he claimed he was just checking on the building, making sure his father's business was secure. Nobody believed him. They held him overnight. Released him Thursday morning on bail. Friday's restraining order hearing was brief. The judge saw the video, saw the pattern of escalation, saw Derek's lack of remorse. Restraining order granted. 500 feet minimum distance. No contact. Violation would result in immediate arrest. Derek stood in the courtroom, his lawyer beside him, looking like someone had gutted him. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt. Just cold certainty that this was necessary. After the hearing, Derek tried to approach me in the parking lot. His lawyer pulled him back. Don't. You'll violate the order. Derek stopped 510 feet away. Close enough to be seen. Far enough to be legal. This isn't over, he mouthed. I drove home. For 2 weeks, Derek stayed away. No contact, no drive-bys, no phone calls. The restraining order held. I finished the mayor's son's Chevy pickup. Kyle was thrilled. Posted pictures on social media. Tagged my business. 3 new clients reached out asking about restoration work. I ordered a new door for Richard Foster's Corvette. Insurance covered most of it. Richard was patient, understanding. Take your time, he said. Do it right. Life was good. Quiet, normal, too normal. Linda felt it too. He's planning something, she said one evening. We were having dinner at the kitchen table, just the two of us. Roast chicken and vegetables, simple, comfortable. Maybe he's finally backed off, I suggested. She gave me a look. You don't believe that. I didn't. Derek wasn't the backing off type. He was the planning revenge type, the waiting for the right moment type. What do you think he'll do? I asked. Something indirect. He can't come at you physically anymore. Can't vandalize the shop. Can't contact clients. Martin's cease and desist scared them off, so we'll try something else. Like what? I don't know yet, but we need to be ready. That weekend, I decided to do some digging. I called Rebecca Walsh, Derek's ex-girlfriend from college, the one James Reeves had mentioned. Ms. Walsh, my name is Jack Dalton. I'm Derek's father. Silence on the line. Then, I know who you are. James Reeves gave me your name, said you might be willing to talk about Derek. Willing? I've been waiting for someone to ask for 8 years. We met at a coffee shop in the next town over. Rebecca was 33, professionally dressed, carrying herself with the careful control of someone who'd been hurt badly and learned from it. Thank you for meeting me, I said. I should thank you. I heard what happened. How you stopped him from stealing your house. I wish someone had stopped him before he destroyed my credit. Tell me what happened. Rebecca's story poured out. She and Derek had dated their senior year of college. He'd been charming, ambitious, full of plans. They talked about moving to the city together after graduation, starting careers, building a life. Then Derek started having money problems, or so he claimed. His scholarship hadn't come through. His parents, meaning me and Linda, had cut him off. He needed help, just temporarily, just until he got on his feet. Rebecca had 3 credit cards. Student cards with low limits, but enough to help. Derek used them all. Maxed them out. $15,000 total. When the bills came due, he vanished. Stopped answering calls. Moved out of their shared apartment without warning. Left Rebecca holding the debt. I had to defer my job offers, Rebecca said. Her hands were shaking around her coffee cup. Spent 2 years working retail and living with my parents just to pay down the debt. It destroyed my credit score. I couldn't get an apartment lease. Couldn't qualify for a car loan. It followed me for years. Did you try to find him? At first. Then I realized he'd done it on purpose. Planned the whole thing. He'd been seeing someone else for months. Vanessa, actually. They moved to another state together. Started fresh. Left me with the wreckage. I didn't know, I said. He told us he'd moved for a job opportunity. Said you two had broken up amicably. Rebecca laughed bitterly. Of course he did. Derek's very good at rewriting history. Why didn't you press charges? I tried, but I'd given him the credit cards voluntarily. I'd signed the agreements. Legally, the debt was mine. The police said it was a civil matter, and civil court would have cost more than I could ever recover. So I just paid it off and moved on. I'm sorry. Don't be. It taught me to recognize people like Derek. I work in legal now, paralegal at Martin's firm. I help people who've been screwed over by con artists. It's satisfying work. She looked at me. But I need you to understand something, Mr. Dalton. What's that? Derek didn't just hurt me financially. He broke me emotionally, made me doubt my judgment, made me question whether I could trust anyone. It took years of therapy to rebuild myself. And the whole time, he was out there doing the same thing to other people. James, you, God knows how many others. He won't do it again, I said. Not to anyone I can protect. Good. But Mr. Dalton, be careful. Derek doesn't handle losing well. And right now, he's lost everything. His reputation, his future, his family. People like that become dangerous. After Rebecca left, I sat in the coffee shop for a long time, thinking. Derek had a pattern, a long, consistent pattern of manipulating people who trusted him, taking what he wanted, and leaving destruction in his wake. And every time, he'd gotten away with it. Found new victims. Rebuilt his image. Until now. Now he was cornered. Exposed. And Rebecca was right. That made him dangerous. I drove home carefully, checking mirrors, watching for Derek's truck. When I pulled into the driveway, I did a slow circuit of the house before going inside. Checked windows, checked doors. Everything secure. Linda was waiting. How'd it go? I told her everything Rebecca had said. $15,000, Linda breathed. And we never knew. He lied. Said they broke up amicably. We believed him because why wouldn't we? Because he's our son. Because we wanted to believe he was better than this. She sat down heavily. Jack, we need to accept something. Derek isn't going to change. He's not going to have an epiphany and become a better person. This is who he is. This is who he's always been. We just didn't want to see it. I know. So what do we do? We finish this. Completely. Make sure he can't hurt anyone else. How? I thought about the pattern. About James Reeves and Rebecca Walsh and all the other people Derek had probably destroyed over the years. About the trail of wreckage he'd left. We expose everything, I said. Not just to protect ourselves, to warn everyone else. Make sure Derek can't reinvent himself again. Linda nodded slowly. A scarlet letter. A digital one. The kind that follows you forever. Over the next week, with Martin's help, we compiled everything. James Reeves's documentation, Rebecca Walsh's testimony, the conservatorship documents Derek had prepared, the forged papers from the house-flipping fraud, my shop security footage, police reports from the assault and the attempted break-in, witness statements from neighbors. Martin put it all together into a clear, factual timeline. No embellishment, no emotion, just documentation showing Derek's pattern of fraud, manipulation, and escalation. What are you going to do with this? Martin asked when it was done. I don't know yet, but I want it ready. Jack, be careful. Defamation law is tricky. Everything here is true and documented, but if you publish this maliciously, Derek could sue. What if someone asks me about him? What if potential employers call me as a reference? Then you can answer truthfully. That's protected. But proactively publishing this? That's different. So I wait until someone asks. Exactly. I didn't have to wait long. 2 days later, I got a call from a woman named Patricia Hill. She was HR director at a mid-sized construction company 3 states away. Mr. Dalton, I'm conducting a background check on Derek Dalton. He's listed you as a reference for a project manager position. Derek was job hunting, using me as a reference without asking. Bold. What would you like to know? I asked. Standard questions. Can you verify his employment history with your business? Derek has never been employed by my business. A pause. He has your company listed on his resume. Claims he worked as lead restoration specialist for 3 years. That's false. Derek has never held any position with my company. Another pause, longer. I see. Can you tell me about his character? Here was the moment. The door Martin had told me to wait for. Ms. Hill, do you have a few minutes? There's quite a bit to tell you. I laid it out. Calmly. Factually. The fraud with James Reeves. The debt left with Rebecca Walsh. The attempt to fraudulently gain control of my house and business. The vandalism. The assault. All documented. All provable. By the end, Patricia Hill was silent for a long moment. Mr. Dalton, I need to verify some of this. Can you provide documentation? I can send you everything. Police reports, court documents, witness statements, all of it. Please do. And Mr. Dalton, thank you for being honest. Many parents would cover for their children. I would have, once, but my son needs to face consequences for his actions. Maybe then he'll change, or maybe not. Either way, I won't help him hurt anyone else. I sent Patricia Hill the documentation package. 3 hours later, she called back. We're rescinding the job offer. And Mr. Dalton, I've made a note in our system. If Derek ever applies again, this information will flag automatically. Appreciated. But I knew Derek wouldn't stop with one job application. He'd try others. And each time, if they called me, I'd tell the truth. The Scarlet Letter was working. Over the next month, I received 4 more reference calls. Each time, I told the truth. Each time, Derek didn't get the job. I knew when he found out because my shop alarm started going off again. False alarms, triggered remotely somehow. Derek had found a way to hack the system, forcing it to alert multiple times a night. Harassment by proxy. I upgraded again. More secure system. No remote access capability. The alarm stopped, but my car got keyed one night while I was grocery shopping. Long scratch down the driver's side. Probably Derek, though I couldn't prove it. Too many cameras, too public a location. He was learning. Linda's car got a flat tire. Nail in the tread? Could be coincidence. Could be sabotage. No way to know. Small things, petty things, but constant, exhausting. He's trying to wear us down, Linda said. It's working. Then we end it. Completely. How? She looked at me. We find out what Derek values most, and we destroy it. The same way he tried to destroy what we valued. What does he value? Control, status, the ability to reinvent himself. She pulled up Derek's social media on her phone. Look. Derek had started a new Instagram account. Fitness coaching, motivational posts, pictures of him working out, eating clean, living his best life. Already had 5,000 followers. He's rebuilding, Linda said. Creating a new identity. Fitness coach Derek instead of con artist Derek. And we remind his followers who he really is. I should have said no. Should have told Linda that public exposure was too far, too cruel, too permanent. But I didn't. Because Derek had tried to destroy everything I'd built. My reputation, my business, my peace. And he was already rebuilding himself. Already finding new people to manipulate. How do we do this? I asked. Linda was already typing. We don't attack directly. That makes us look vindictive. Instead, we create a neutral, factual website. Timeline of documented events. Public records only. Police reports. Court documents. No editorializing. Just facts. That's still public exposure. It's public information. Anyone could find this with enough digging. We're just making it easier. And we link it to his social media. We posted once in response to one of his motivational posts. Something about overcoming obstacles. We comment, interesting perspective on overcoming obstacles. Here's some context about obstacles you've created for others. Then we link the website. That's nuclear. That's justice. I thought about James Reeves, about Rebecca Walsh, about all the people Derek had hurt who never got closure, about the people he would hurt in the future if I didn't stop him. Let's do it, I said. It took us 3 days to build the website. Martin helped with legal review, making sure everything was factual and defensible. We called it Public Documentation, Derek Dalton, Clean Design, Chronological Layout, each incident documented with date, description, supporting evidence, links to public records, James Reeves's case, Rebecca Walsh's testimony, the attempted conservatorship, the shop vandalism, the assault, the restraining order, all of it. We didn't editorialize, didn't interpret, just presented facts and let people draw their own conclusions. When it was done, I stared at the webpage for a long time. This will destroy him, I said. He destroyed himself, Linda replied. We're just making sure everyone knows it. Derek posted his motivational content Thursday morning. Comments rolled in, supportive, encouraging. People who had no idea who he really was. Linda posted our comment at noon. Within an hour, Derek had deleted it, but screenshots spread. People had seen it, clicked the link, read the website. By evening, Derek's comment section was filled with questions. Is this true? Who are you really? Why would your own father say these things? Derek tried damage control, claimed I was mentally unstable, claimed I was jealous of his success, claimed the website was full of lies. But we'd been smart. Everything was documented. Provable. people could verify it themselves. By Friday morning, Derek had lost 2,000 followers. By Saturday, he deleted the account entirely. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. Is this what winning looks like? I asked Linda. This is what protecting others looks like. Derek can't reinvent himself now, can't find new victims. That's worth feeling hollow. Maybe she was right. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd become something I didn't like. Something cold and calculating. That Sunday, Martin called. Jack, Derek's lawyer, contacted me. They're threatening to sue for defamation. Everything on that website is true and documented. I know, and I told them that, but they're claiming emotional distress. Intentional infliction? They're throwing everything at the wall, hoping something sticks. What do? We wait. They're bluffing. They know they can't win, but they're hoping you'll take the website down to avoid the hassle. Will you? I thought about it. Thought about taking the easy way out, avoiding conflict. No, I said. The website stays up. That's what I hoped you'd say. The lawsuit never materialized. Derek's lawyer was smart enough to know they'd lose, but Derek wasn't done. He was just getting started. The next attack came through Vanessa. She started her own social media campaign, posted about narcissistic parents, about adult children escaping toxic family dynamics, about brave sons standing up to abusive fathers, never mentioned names, but anyone who followed the story could connect the dots. Her followers ate it up. Suddenly she was getting sympathy, support, people who believed her narrative. She's good, Linda admitted, playing the victim, making it about abuse and control rather than fraud and manipulation. Can we counter it? Not without looking like we're attacking her, and that plays into their narrative. We were stuck. Derek had found a new angle, and we couldn't shut it down without making things worse. Then Tom Henderson did something unexpected. He posted a video on his Facebook. Tom, the quiet neighbor, the retired postal worker, calm, reasonable Tom. I've known Jack and Linda Dalton for 15 years, he said to the camera. They're good people, honest people. I've watched them help neighbors, fix cars for free, give time and money to community projects. And I've watched Derek over the past year. I've seen how he treated them. I was there when he humiliated Jack at that neighborhood gathering. I was there when he attacked Jack in the front yard. I've seen the pattern. And I'm here to say the Daltons aren't the problem. Derek is. The video went viral in our town, shared hundreds of times. Other neighbors added their own stories, their own observations of Derek's behavior. The local narrative solidified. Derek was the villain. We were the victims who'd fought back. But outside our town, in the wider social media world, Vanessa's story still played. Two competing narratives, depending on which audience you asked. We can't control the whole story, Martin said, but we've controlled the local story. That's what matters. Derek can't come back here, can't rebuild here. He has to go somewhere else and start from scratch. And if he finds new victims? Then hopefully they'll search his name and find the documentation website. That's the best we can do. I had to be satisfied with that. Had to accept that I couldn't protect everyone. Could only do what was in my power. 3 weeks passed. Derek stayed away. The online drama faded. Life returned to something like normal. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from James Reeves. Jack, I thought you should know. Derek contacted me. My stomach dropped. What did he want? To apologize. Said he'd been in therapy. Said he realized what he'd done. Said he wanted to make amends. Do you believe him? A long pause. No, it felt rehearsed. Like something a therapist told him to say, not something he actually meant. What did you tell him? That I'd think about it. But Jack? He asked about you, asked if you'd be willing to sit down and talk. Said he wanted to rebuild the relationship. Absolutely not? That's what I figured. But I wanted to warn you. He's trying a new approach. The repentant son. The changed man. And I think he's targeting people, trying to find a way back in. After James hung up, I told Linda. He's probing, she said. Testing defenses. Seeing who might be sympathetic. Who else might he contact? We made a list. My clients, her friends, former neighbors. Anyone who knew us and might feel sorry for Derek. We should warn them, Linda said. Or we wait and see who he targets. See what his actual plan is. We chose to wait. To watch. 2 days later, Rebecca Walsh called. Mr. Dalton, Derek reached out to me. Sent a long email about being in therapy, understanding what he did, wanting to make restitution. What kind of restitution? He offered to pay back the $15,000 he stole, with interest. That stopped me. Seriously? Seriously. He included payment plan documentation, $7,500 immediately, the rest over 6 months. That doesn't sound like Derek. No, it doesn't. Which makes me suspicious. What's his angle? I don't know yet. What did you say? That I'd consider it. But I wanted to talk to you first. Smart woman. Hold off, I said. If he's serious, the offer will stay on the table. If he's running a con, we need to figure out what he's after. Over the next week, Derek made similar overtures to 3 more people, always apologizing, always offering restitution, always claiming to be a changed man. He's building a rehabilitation narrative, Martin said when I told him, creating witnesses who'll testify that he's turned his life around, that he's making amends. Why? Because he wants to file a countersuit, or apply for jobs where character references matter, or try to rebuild his reputation enough to function in society. He needs people saying, yeah, Derek screwed up, but he owned it and made it right. So what do? We let him make the payments, let him build his rehabilitation narrative, and we stay alert for when he tries to use it against you. It felt wrong, letting Derek look good, letting him rebuild. But Martin was right. We couldn't stop him from trying to change, or at least from pretending to. Rebecca accepted Derek's payment plan. $7,500 arrived by certified check. She deposited it, confirmed it cleared, and started receiving the monthly payments. It's real money, she told me, not a scam. He's actually paying it back. Then maybe he has changed, I said, though I didn't believe it. Or maybe he's investing in a long con. Time will tell. Time did tell. 4 months after Derek started his rehabilitation campaign, I got a call from a woman named Elizabeth Price. She was a family court mediator. Mr. Dalton, Derek has petitioned the court for a mediated reconciliation session. He's claiming that the estrangement from his parents is causing significant emotional distress, and he'd like to attempt supervised reconciliation. He's doing what? It's a relatively new program for adult children estranged from parents. The idea is to facilitate communication in a controlled environment, with the goal of healing family relationships. I don't want to reconcile. That's your right. But Derek has framed this as being willing to do anything to rebuild the relationship, and he's done extensive work in therapy to prepare. If you refuse without even attempting mediation, it could be used against you in future legal proceedings. What kind of legal proceedings? A pause. I shouldn't speculate, but hypothetically, if Derek were to claim that your actions damaged his mental health and employment prospects, and that he tried everything to reconcile but you refused, well, that could be relevant in a lawsuit. There it was, the long con. Derek was building a case, making himself look reasonable, remorseful, trying everything to fix things, making me look stubborn, vindictive, unwilling to forgive. When is this mediation scheduled? I asked. 3 weeks from now. You'll receive formal notification by mail. I'll be there. After I hung up, I called Martin immediately. He's brilliant, Martin said, almost admiringly. This is exactly what I was worried about. He's creating a paper trail of rehabilitation and reconciliation attempts. If you refuse to participate, you look like the problem. So I participate. Yes, but carefully. Don't let him manipulate you emotionally. Don't make any commitments. Just listen, stay calm, and let him talk himself into circles. And if he's genuinely changed? Jack, people like Derek don't genuinely change in 4 months. They learn better tactics. The 3 weeks crawled by. I prepared with Martin like I was preparing for trial. We reviewed everything Derek had done, everything I would and wouldn't say, how to stay calm if Derek tried to provoke me. Linda prepared too. She was invited to the mediation as well. We decided to present a united front, willing to listen, but not willing to be manipulated. The day arrived, gray, humid, like the day this all started, fitting. The mediation took place in a neutral office building, beige walls, uncomfortable chairs, conference table with water pitchers and notepads. Elizabeth Price, the mediator, was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. Derek arrived with Vanessa and a therapist. Dr. Raymond Chen, young guy, maybe 40, with the earnest expression of someone who genuinely believes in redemption narratives. We all sat down. Derek across from me, Vanessa next to him, Linda next to me, mediators at the ends of the table. Thank you all for being here, Elizabeth began. This is a safe space for honest communication. The goal is understanding, not blame. Derek has requested this session because he wants to repair the relationship with his parents. Let's start by having Derek share what's brought him here. Derek took a deep breath. He looked different, thinner, tired, less polished than usual. Mom, Dad, he began. His voice cracked. I know I've hurt you. I know I've made terrible mistakes. And I know saying sorry doesn't fix anything. But I need you to understand I was in a bad place. Mentally. Emotionally. I was drowning in failure, and I lashed out at the people closest to me. He paused, wiped his eyes. Was he crying? Real tears or performance? I've been in therapy for 4 months, working through my issues, understanding why I do the things I do, and I've realized that I was treating you like obstacles instead of people, like resources to be used instead of parents to be loved. Dr. Chen nodded encouragingly. I've paid back, Rebecca. I'm working on making things right with James. I've apologized to everyone I hurt, and now I'm here, asking if there's any way, any possibility that we can start over. Not go back to how things were, but build something new, something healthier. He looked at me directly. Dad, I know I tried to steal your house. I know I lied and manipulated and hurt you, and I know you have every right to never speak to me again. But you are my father, and I'm your son, and I'm asking, begging, for one more chance. The room was silent. Elizabeth looked at me. Jack, would you like to respond? I took my time, drank some water, organized my thoughts. Derek, I said carefully, I appreciate that you're in therapy. I appreciate that you're paying back the people you stole from. Those are good steps. He leaned forward hopefully. But, I continued, I don't trust you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because this isn't the first time you've tried to manipulate me. It's just a more sophisticated version. Let me finish. You've shown me repeatedly over years that you're willing to lie, cheat, and destroy people to get what you want. 4 months of therapy doesn't erase that pattern. It might be the start of change, but it's not proof of change. What would be proof? Dr. Chen asked. What would Jack need to see to believe Derek has changed? Years, I said. Years of consistent, honest behavior. Years of not trying to manipulate or control people. Years of building a life that doesn't depend on using others. And even then, I don't know if I could trust him with my well-being or my assets. Derek's face fell. So there's nothing I can do? You can keep being in therapy, keep paying back the people you hurt, keep building an honest life, but you do it for yourself, not to get back into my life. That's not fair, Vanessa said suddenly. Derek has done everything right. He's tried to make amends, and you're punishing him for past mistakes. Linda's voice cut like ice. He tried to steal our house. He assaulted Jack. He destroyed multiple people's lives. Those aren't past mistakes. Those are patterns of behavior that suggest serious personality problems. He's been diagnosed, Dr. Chen said. Narcissistic personality disorder with antisocial features. But he's working on it. With therapy and possibly medication, he can manage these traits. Manage, not cure, I said. Because there is no cure for being fundamentally willing to hurt others for personal gain. Dad, please. Derek's voice broke. I'm trying. I'm really trying. What do you want from me? Nothing. I want nothing from you except distance and peace. Elizabeth intervened. Let's take a step back. Jack, Linda, I understand your hesitation, but research shows that family reconciliation, even partial reconciliation, can be beneficial for everyone involved. Would you be willing to try limited contact? Perhaps supervised visits every few months? No, Linda said, because the moment we agree to that, Derek will use it as leverage. See? They're willing to work with me. They're open to reconciliation. And then when we set boundaries, we'll be the ones who broke faith. She was right. I could see Derek's strategy now. Get us to agree to supervised contact. Build evidence that we were reconciling. Then gradually push boundaries, manufacture conflicts, and position himself as the reasonable party trying to maintain the relationship while we were the difficult ones. This was a trap, I said. This whole mediation. You're building a lawsuit narrative, aren't you? Derek's face flickered, just for a second, then back to earnest remorse. But I'd seen it. The calculation, the mask slipping. I don't know what you mean, he said. Yes, you do. You're creating evidence that you tried everything to reconcile. You paid back victims, you went to therapy, you invited us to mediation, and when we refuse to let you back in our lives, you'll sue us for emotional distress or some other creative legal theory. You'll use our refusal as proof that we damaged you. That's paranoid, Dr. Chen said. That's pattern recognition, Martin countered. He'd been quiet until now. Derek has a documented history of setting up people to look like villains while he plays the victim. This is the same tactic, just better executed. Elizabeth looked uncomfortable. I can assure you, This mediation is confidential and can't be used in court without both parties' consent. But the fact that it happened can be used, Martin said. The fact that Derek requested it and Jack and Linda refused to continue can definitely be used to paint them as unreasonable. The room fell silent again. The truth hung in the air like smoke. Derek sat back in his chair. The mask was fully off now. No more tears, no more earnestness. "You're right," he said. His voice was different. Cold. Flat. "I am building a case, because you destroyed my life, Dad. You took everything from me. My reputation, my career prospects, my future. All because I made some mistakes. You tried to steal my house. I tried to take care of you. You were getting older, becoming vulnerable, and I was trying to protect our family's assets. By forging conservatorship documents, by spreading lies about my mental decline, by being practical. But you couldn't see that. You had to turn me into a villain, put everything online for the world to see, make sure I could never rebuild. You made yourself a villain. I just documented it." Derek stood up. "This is pointless. You're never going to give me a fair chance." "You're right," I said. "I'm not, because you haven't earned it, and 4 months of therapy doesn't erase years of destruction. Then I guess we're done here. We've been done since you tried to humiliate me at that neighborhood gathering. This was just making it official." Derek looked at me with pure hatred, then at Linda, then at Martin. "I'll see you in court," he said. "Looking forward to it," Martin replied calmly. Derek walked out. Vanessa scrambled after him. Dr. Chen looked between us, confused. "I'm not sure what just happened," Elizabeth said. "That was unexpected." "That was Derek showing his true colors," Linda said. "The therapy, the apologies, the restitution, all tactics, all performance. He hasn't changed at all." "But he paid back Rebecca Walsh. That's not nothing." "That's an investment," I said. "He paid $15,000 to build credibility for a lawsuit that he hopes will get him much more." Martin was already packing his briefcase. "Elizabeth, thank you for facilitating, but I think we're done here." We left the building together. Outside, the gray sky had darkened. Rain was starting. "What happens now?" Linda asked. "Now Derek sues," Martin said. "He'll claim defamation, emotional distress, alienation of affection, whatever his lawyer can come up with. He'll use the mediation failure as evidence that Jack and Linda are unreasonable. He'll paint himself as the victim." "Can he win?" "No. We have too much documentation, too many witnesses, too much evidence of his actual behavior, but he can make it expensive and time-consuming. So we fight. The lawsuit arrived 2 weeks later. Derek was suing me, Linda, Martin, and James Reeves for defamation, conspiracy to defame, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and interference with business relationships. He was asking for $2 million in damages.